Generative AI, it feels like it's exploded into our world overnight, doesn't it? And, nowhere is that conversation more important, more urgent than in education. We're looking at a moment of just massive disruption, but also, and this is the key part, incredible opportunity. So let's dive in, explore three really common myths about AI in the classroom, and maybe uncover the surprising reality hiding underneath. First, we've got to just wrap our heads around the sheer speed we're dealing with here. I mean, look at this. It took radio 20 years to reach half the US population. TD took 12. Smartphones, which felt revolutionary, took 7 years. But AI chatbots, just 2.5. This isn't some gradual shift we can get used to. It's a lightning strike. And that's exactly why we need to understand what's going on right now. To really get our heads around this thing, I absolutely love this quote from Harvard professor Bharath Anand. It just perfectly captures the personality of today's large language models. They're confident, they're powerful, but they're not always right. Understanding that duality, that weird mix of brilliance and fallibility, is the key to unlocking what AI can really do for education. So what do most people get wrong when they think about AI in the classroom? Well, you hear three big ideas, or myths, that just keep popping up. The first is that it's all about how smart the AI is, its raw intelligence. The second is this idea that we should probably just wait, hold off until it's perfect before we start using it. And the third, the really optimistic one, is that it's going to magically level the playing field for everyone. But what if those assumptions are actually holding us back? What if the real story, the real potential of AI in the classroom, is completely different from what we think? Let's challenge these ideas, one by one. All right, let's tackle myth number one. This idea that AI's revolutionary power comes from its pure, unadulterated intelligence. We see these incredible outputs, and it's easy to think, wow, this thing is just getting so incredibly smart. But here's the twist. AI has been getting smarter for decades, quietly in the background. The real revolution, the thing that changed everything recently, isn't some sudden leap in intelligence. It's a leap in access. For the very first time, anyone, and I mean anyone, can tap into this immense power with a simple search bar. Now that is a game changer. Think about it like this. Think about the history of how we talk to computers. We went from these super complex punch cards and DOS command prompts to the graphical user interface, the clickable icons and folders that let anyone, even a kid, use a computer. Will this move to natural language? It's just as big a leap. We are fundamentally shrinking the distance between a human thought and a computer's action. And the implication here is just wild. Before, you may have needed years of specialized training to master a tool like Photoshop. Now, you can just describe the image you want in plain English. This means a student with a brilliant idea but zero design skills can suddenly bring that idea to life. That completely changes what we even mean by expertise. Okay, so what about all those stories we hear about AI just making stuff up or hallucinating? It's really tempting to say, you know what, I'll just wait. I'll wait until they work out all the kinks. But honestly, that's a huge mistake. Waiting is absolutely the wrong move. The right approach isn't patience, it's strategy. We don't need a perfect tool to create enormous value. We just need a smart strategy for using the powerful and, yes, imperfect tool that we have in our hands today. And this is where the Ryanair analogy comes in, and it's just brilliant. Think about it. Ryanair isn't a better flying experience. In fact, a lot of the time, it's a worse one. But it's not trying to be a better product. It's trying to be a cheaper and faster product. And it is incredibly successful at that. AI can be the exact same way. It doesn't have to be perfect to be unbelievably valuable. So, how do you decide when to use AI and when to, hold back? This simple framework is actually super helpful. So, top left, you've got low-risk tasks with explicit data, things like basic customer support. That's a green light. Go for it. Top right, low-risk tasks that need creativity, like brainstorming marketing ideas, another great place for AI. But then, bottom left, high-risk tasks with clear data, like drafting legal agreements. Here, you proceed with caution, and you always have a human in the loop. And bottom right, high-risk, high-judgment tasks like massive software integration. For now, that's probably a zone to avoid. And this isn't just some abstract theory. Look at how Harvard faculty are already using it. They're automating the boring, low-risk stuff. They're building chatbots to answer simple questions about the syllabus 24/7. They're generating new quiz variations to save themselves hours of work. They're not asking it to replace their judgment. They're using it as a tool to save time and energy. So here's the big takeaway for this section. Stop getting hung up on the AI's error rate.
Instead, focus on the cost of the error. A 30% error rate is totally fine if you're brainstorming a new product name, but a 1% error rate, that's a catastrophe if you're designing an airplane. It's all about the context.
And now for the big one, myth number 3. This beautiful utopian idea that AI will solve our problems, level the playing field, and create a more equal world. It's a wonderful thought, but is it true? The reality, unfortunately, can be much more sobering. If you look at history, the benefits of new technologies, well, they don't flow equally to everyone. In fact, sometimes they can actually amplify existing advantages and widen the gap between the haves and the have-nots. To really see why AI might not be the great equalizer we hope for, let's just look at a recent example. MOOCs. Remember those? The free online courses that were supposed to democratize education for everyone? But who actually finished them? A whopping 75% of the people who completed them already had a college degree. The rich, in terms of education, just got richer. So what happened there? Well, it turns out that expertise acts as a powerful filter. If you're a physics professor, you can use AI to quickly find an answer to a super complex question because you know what to ask and you know if the answer makes sense. But if you're a high school student who knows nothing about physics, you're not going to know what to ask, and you certainly won't know if the answer you get back is right or just complete nonsense.
Okay, so debunking all these myths, it forces us to ask a much bigger, much deeper question. If an AI can instantly give us the what, the facts, the figures, the summaries, then what is the fundamental purpose of school anymore?
And this is where it gets really exciting. We need to look past the surface-level stuff we teach. We thought we were just memorizing state capitals, but what we were actually doing was training our memory. We thought we were just doing geometry proofs, but we were really learning logical reasoning. The content was just the vehicle we used to build these timeless, critical cognitive skills. So what does this mean for the future of education? It means we need to double down on the things that make us human, things that AI can't just replicate. Skills like curiosity, creativity, critical thinking, empathy, judgment. These are the skills that are going to be most valuable in a world filled with AI.
And what's cool is that AI can actually help us teach these deeper skills. There's this powerful approach called adaptive learning. This is where AI isn't just a simple chatbot. It's a whole system that actually tailors the educational journey to each individual student, creating customized activities that target their specific needs to help build those skills.
But, and there's always a but, here's a fascinating twist. An MIT study found that while students who used AI learned faster, they actually did worse on application tests. The students who had to struggle a bit more, using traditional research methods, actually retained the information better. It's a classic case of no pain, no gain. If learning becomes too easy, we might not actually learn at all. Which brings us to our final question, and it's really the central challenge for every educator, every parent, every student today. As artificial intelligence gets better and better at mastering the what, how do we, as humans, get better at teaching and learning the why?